We don't often start hunts at 5 AM in the Hunter Classic anymore, mostly for the sake of lighting in the videos, but it's quite a nice thing to actually see just how nice this game looks early in the morning. And we've started so early for a pretty good reason. We have quite a walk to actually go on today for this hunt, and I wanted to kind of hunt for the competitions because I mentioned in last week's video that they've kind of redone a lot of stuff with them, and the big change, in my opinion, is the trophies. They've redesigned, if not all of them, at least a bunch of them, and I really want to get my hands on some of those. So unfortunately there is no whitetail competition running right now, but there is one for the biggest elk and the biggest moose, so that's going to be what we focus on. And of course, we're on a whitetail map. The hope is going to be to stumble into a 200 scoring whitetail, so I want to kind of go through the mountains a good bit for elk in the early part of the hunt, and then once it starts to get a bit lighter out, we'll swing down into the swamp area. I'm not sure if we'll go exactly that way, but eventually get down into this area and look for whitetail and moose, and we'll kind of see, as we're hunting along, if number one we can actually place in one of the comps, and also if we can do any good for whitetail hunting. I'd say this guy is pretty much the expected size to start out an elk hunt. Here a bugle, and then it's just a tiny little bull, 65 to 110, and what did that say, 310 to 340 kg? He's definitely not a very big one, but I guess I'd rather get this now and remain optimistic about what else is out there than get him towards the end and feel like there's just nothing good. Somehow a 68 scorer has us in 8th? I think the competition did just recently start, so that might make sense, but I want to say top was close to 380, so we definitely would need a good one to get first place, but maybe 340s was the number I'm remembering for top 3? I don't know if that would hold, but that's actually quite doable. It's always cool to actually get to see them when they bugle, and at least with this one moving in the right direction. Still nowhere near that 380 mark that we need for like first place, but definitely a better sign. Hopefully we can get in here and make the shot, and the other nice thing with this one is it didn't get stuck for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. There was a lot of time waiting for that last one. It was just down over the hill. This one was able to walk straight in, and luckily we were able to make the shot there and just kind of move on, but I'm quite pleased in knowing that the path that we're taking is actually good for elk, because it's been quite some time since I've really hunted up in here for them at all, but 2 bulls so far. And yeah, there must just be approximately 10 people in this count because we got pushed up 1 for a score improvement of about 120 there. Now that looks a whole lot better than anything we've seen so far. I kind of want to... I was gonna say I kind of want to wait, but I'm not too sure. That black bear is kind of walking at us, and they are not really affected by the Boone and Crockett camo, so it's like a deer species camo. I cannot believe they hung around, but yeah, like, because it got so close, I was worried that the bear might spook and then send the elk running, and we can now see 4, or a total of 4. There usually are 5. That, of course, is going to spook stuff, but that gives us a pretty good idea. Kind of surprised and was wishing the bear was going to charge us, but sadly he didn't. I don't see any sign of, like, huge antlers running off, so I think we'll be happy with the 2 we got. Actually, this guy was one of the really heavy ones. There were a couple of pretty heavy tracks just back here not too far, and just one simple elk call got us a bugle and brought these guys in. I think he's got a short back tie in there, so he's still going to be probably just barely above 300 if at all, but definitely our best one thus far. 312 score, pretty solid. He's definitely not huge or anything, and the lighting's not great, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time actually trying to get a better trophy shot because I really want to take advantage of like the early morning time while we can, because animals do seem to be a little more likely to call, and at least you're hunting before some of them start to actually fall asleep, so not the best trophy shot we've taken, but definitely nice to actually get a good sized bull about an hour in. Well, unfortunately, he is currently spooked, but our first whitetail buck of the hunt is a pretty good one, 160 to 185 estimate. I'm not sure if he just went into the calm state maybe, or if he's just turning around, but we got a 85 to 100 track not too far back, and it was just super fresh, and I expected him to have spooked, but I think the water is kind of deep right here in front of us, and I'm pretty sure that prevented him from actually getting farther away, so we're lucky we ever did get eyes on him, but he seems to be on his way in, and he's got good looking tine length. I know he's got a couple of stickers, but 170 should be more than possible for that rack. Well, that is more than confirmation that he is calm. it's cool we've actually managed to watch a couple of animals close range call today. High rack and everything, that's a good looking deer. I wish he was an 8x8 just to know what that frame could have. Because if he did have those 2 extra tines, I'd be very confident that he was in the 180s. Hopefully we can make a decent shot on him and drop him. The one bad thing is, as far as trophy shots go, dropping him there, maybe we can pull him into this tiny little spot of light here, but it's going to be a little bit dark. Let's see then. Like I said, good tine length. The fact that he's got the couple of stickers is definitely going to hurt him, but managed to hard shot him there actually at 20 meters. Yeah, just a 164 score, unfortunately. I think he's probably got about 170 inches of just normal antler, but the fact that he has, I think, 3 total stickers all on the same antler is definitely going to hurt him. I think that actually looks pretty good. I mean, it's kind of the best we can do to highlight the frame and all the tines he has. So we'll go with that for our little trophy shot. Glad to actually get a good sized whitetail and elk as we go along here. And we're really only getting into territory where moose might actually be around, so maybe we can make it a trifecta and get a good sized bull while we're out here yet. Well, to go from one end of the whitetail score spectrum to the other, we now have this guy coming in. He chose like the worst path to come in on, but we managed to get him down without spooking anything. We're just kind of getting down towards the southern lodge now. I was thinking about maybe fast traveling and then going up through the swamp, but a lot of times right north of the lodge is good for moose as well, so we might just walk it and save our fast travel, but had to call this guy in just in case, and unfortunately I think that's the lowest score we've had so far today with either elk or whitetail. So another pretty good looking buck, and actually a high rack again, but much like the other one, he is definitely not like a full frame. I think we're a little bit to the side there, so it's going to be lung and maybe liver or something. I kind of wanted to go north anyway, so as long as he flees in that direction, it's not going to cost us much time. But that one might have been a 6x6. I didn't get a great look because he kind of just was appearing up over the hill and we had to get our shot off, but if he could have been, again, an 8x8, we might have been looking at a much more interesting deer. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, this guy is also a 7x7, with just a single lung shot there, but 164, I think, again, I want to say the other one also scored 164, so go figure we'd get 2 with the same score and rack shape, both being high racks. But the lack of bull moose has been kind of surprising. It's so often when we're hunting around this map, I tend to ignore them, but actually looking for them today for a competition, and I'm sure they're out here, but they haven't been anywhere near us so far. Unfortunately, I think this guy is going to fall just shy of 200, so not quite able to get our dream whitetail with this one, but it's always interesting to see those. A little far back, and I'm hoping that we maybe got into the liver. The buck that just grunted, assuming it's the one that I saw earlier, is quite an interesting one, and it is going to be the same deer. I hope we can get eyes on it. It's just walking behind the trees. I don't know if the ones that we just spooked are going to mess with this. He's got this super wide frame, and I think, again, he must only be like a 6x6 or 7x7, but he's also got a bunch of stickers and that estimate of 142, 165, so kind of unfortunate, but that's the one I actually want to get out of this. For a buck to have a frame like that and then be 140 to 165 is kind of unfortunate, but hopefully we can get back on track with our shooting here. Must have been a little bit low. I hope we got a lung. All of a sudden we are having to track just about everything. That is body blood. That was only a 20-meter shot. Kind of surprised that hit as low as it did, but we'll track our other little tiny spike first. In the meantime, if we don't find a moose as we do this, we might have a whole hunt where I wanted to at least spend some time going after moose where we don't find a single one. I mean, there's been small bulls in the distance that we've kind of ignored, but nothing at all interesting so far. Well, luckily, that guy didn't really go anywhere. It was a stomach and intestine shot, so it makes sense, but 33.8 scores, so because he's kind of just floating in this deep part of the water, I'm not going to try to take a trophy shot at him, even though he's definitely especially tiny. So we did technically find a couple of bull moose, but they are pretty much par for the course for everything else we've seen, just kind of pathetically tiny bulls. I'm really curious to see what this whitetail scores. That shot looks like it would have been fine, but I think it would have been out of our render, so the arrow might not be exactly where we initially hit. 154 score with like that frame just seems insane. I mean, there's 3 stickers there that cost him a lot, but he had so much potential with that much width, and to only end up as a 154, and actually the smallest of our 3 kind of bigger frame bucks. Like I said, it's kind of just unfortunate, but it was definitely nice to get out here again, and I'm really looking forward to actually hunting for more of the competitions. I think my long-term goal is to try to get, whether it's gold, silver, or bronze, at least one of each of the new trophies. I really don't know if there's one for each species or if there's just a couple, but regardless of how that is, I really want to actually do that. So we might have a little less whitetail specific content going forward, but anytime, of course, we can get on a whitetail map for any of those comps, that'll be something that we're focusing on as well. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.